And something to be remembered and something that could be continued with or without me.
Her goal is to reach as many people as possible. She believes that's the only way the movement will have a real chance in Iran.
In other parts of the world, cycling is a lot more straightforward, with high-quality lanes shielding riders from the surrounding traffic. Given conditions of this kind, a lot of people will willingly leave their cars at home. In the German city of Münster, well over a third of commuters get from A to B by bike. Making cycling attractive is also the key goal of an initiative underway in the city of Belo Horizonte in southeastern Brazil. For a country designed with cars in mind, it's an especially significant move. For this week's Global Ideas, our reporter Bianca Kopsch went to find out more.
The streets are cordoned off, and the new speed limit sign is up. Evelyn Trevisan is a sustainable mobility officer with an ambitious mission. She wants to radically reduce the flow of traffic in the Brazilian city of Belo Horizonte.
The first thing we'll do is turn our blueprint into something tangible so we can start working.
The idea is to reclaim the streets. That means fewer cars and more kids playing outside. Though their numbers are smaller than usual due to the pandemic, a group of volunteers have come to help. The street art is intended to reinforce the point. In many parts of Brazil, a speed limit of 30 kilometers an hour is barely conceivable.
I've always dreamed of a slower-paced city, one which allows pedestrians and cyclists to move about safely. I saw Tempo 30, the 30-kilometer speed limit, as a way to pursue this dream.
The air will be monitored to find out what difference the new speed limit has on emissions levels. The volunteers use sand, cement, and clay to create street furniture. It's the same technique that was used to build the Great Wall of China, simple, stable, and sustainable. And voila, a bench. Getting locals involved in the planning stage was important to Evelyn.
Various people took part in the discussions. Mothers who used the space talked about their kids' needs. Older people expressed what they needed. It was very interesting because it was such a collaborative process.
The new 30-kilometer zone includes a bike path, which links both the affluent area of Santa Teresa as well as more deprived surrounding areas with the rest of the city. Today, Evelyn and her colleague are going on an inspection.
Look, the cars are already slowing down.
The scheme is part of a larger-scale project called Urban Pathways. It's sponsored by an international climate protection initiative. It's a short stretch, but by forming a connection with one of the main cycle lanes in the city, it offers a viable alternative to driving a car.
Cyclists had already been using this route on a daily basis, but it was very unsafe. This stretch over the viaduct was really important to us. I've been a cyclist myself for years. My children are too, and now I have a grandson who is learning to ride. I'm working on creating a better city for us all.
Belo Horizonte is located in the southeastern state of Minas Gerais and is one of the largest cities in Brazil. Traffic here is heavy. Brazil is a country designed around cars and has one of the highest rates of road fatalities in the world. For years, authorities have been investing in public transport and cycle paths. But of the 400 kilometers of cycle lanes promised, only a quarter have actually been built, prompting frustration from cyclists.
Drivers aren't aware of what we need, that bikes are a viable mode of transport. That's why the creation of cycle paths is important. It's quite moving to discover a new cycle path.
The transformation is almost complete. just a few finishing touches from the volunteers. Overall, it's a simple and highly cost-effective initiative. Evelyn and her team of volunteers are pleased with their work and hope their project can serve as a blueprint for others.
I'm really touched. I'm very thankful to everyone who helped create this. It required tireless work, day in and day out. It makes you feel like you're swimming upstream. But together we did it. Thank you very much.
The project has had a far-reaching effect. Not only has it reduced traffic and benefited the environment, it's also boosted social cohesion, all the more significant during a pandemic. Local residents keep the area clean. For those who were involved in the conception of the project, it's especially rewarding.
The children's wishes have really come to fruition. It was an interesting process and amazing to see how the whole thing became a reality right here in our neighbourhood. Since this has become a communal space, more and more people are coming here, which in turn makes the area safer, and that too brings more people here. It's a cycle.
There are only a few areas in which a speed limit has been introduced. It's a fresh way of thinking about public space. I think the whole city could do with a rethink.
Evelyn has also brought her family along to check out the project.
This is what I work for, so that kids can play safely on the streets. We want people to be able to enjoy public space safely. This project may seem small, but it changes perceptions and culture, and that makes me really happy.
The success of this project in Belo Horizonte could form the basis of positive changes all over the city and beyond.
Two children, two continents, one giant problem.
In my leven ik nog net gezien een beetje rien. Met die beide lezen, hoe roki krijgen doen met gelijk, hoe taart doet gelijk.
How will climate change affect us and our children? Learn more at dw.com/water.
Plastic packaging is lightweight, cheap and practical. According to the UN, some 400,000 tons of it are produced every year. Much of it is used just once before being tossed in the trash. The pandemic has only exacerbated the problem, with disposable masks, gloves and other medical waste polluting the environment. We find out how people in Ghana are tackling the issue.
This beach to the east of Ghana's capital, Accra, is drowning in plastic trash. Richmond Kwarko and his friends are out collecting it, well aware that in a couple of weeks it'll be just as bad again.
We deserve more than to be a dump site. This is our little paradise. We prefer to keep it as it is, and we believe that with collective action and responsibility, the world should move towards alternative packaging solutions.
They've carried out over 1,000 sweeps altogether in their battle against the global plastic tsunami. They pick up everything from Aldi supermarket bags to fishing nets. Now, even waste from the COVID-19 pandemic is washing ashore.
Yeah, but anyway, we do find some medical things which, of course, came out from the outbreak of the pandemic. These are new streams of waste. It will be great for most people to use reusable masks to reduce this, because the single-use mask is really becoming another pandemic in the pandemic.
The activists get modest financial support from a variety of organizations, even the EU. They're alarmed especially by a series of new studies which say that over the next 20 years, the amount of plastic in the world's oceans will double to a total 600 million tons. The maritime plastic deluge has taken on a life of its own. Dr. Edem Mahu of Accra University is studying the damage done to the ocean. It takes hundreds or even thousands of years for plastic to decompose. It gradually breaks up into ever smaller parts. The smallest of them, the nanoparticles now found in fish, are a huge problem for Ghanaians.
Plastics are made with additives, phthalates and other chemicals. These plastics get in the fish and then we consume the fish. And then what happens? We end up consuming these chemicals into our own bodies. It's a big challenge, not just for the ocean and the ecosystem, but also for humans.
One more reason for Ghana to press ahead with recycling. Plastic manufacturer Miniplast has grown to be one of the country's most important plastic suppliers. It produces two types of plastic: plastic made from fresh materials and recycled plastics.
It's something that came out of necessity. The cost of raw material was expensive. We found out ways of recycling the material. We're talking about almost 20 years ago, when recycling in Ghana was very little. We have 50% of our production is made out of recycled material, and we also produce and sell to other factories. But not only that, is that we believe that in the next 10 years, there will not be a single drop of virgin material in Ghana.
Recycling trash means revenues for the company and jobs for its workers. The tasks of collecting and processing plastics provide a valuable opportunity to earn an income in a country where jobs can be hard to come by. After the plastic has been segregated by type and color, it's processed into a molten mass which is converted into granulated plastic. The approach has many benefits.
Recycling creates lots of jobs and that pay well. This is something that is very needed here. We have developed 3 plants that collect for us, shred and recycle. And those are fed by smaller plants to whom we give always trainings and financial help through ourselves and sometimes through GIZ from your country and other organizations.
Miniplast is especially environmentally conscientious, getting 2/3 of its power from the sun. However, where the beach meets the city of Accra, the activists from Plastic Punch say recycling is good, but waste prevention is better. So they also want people to think about how they live.
The community might change their mindset on how they see or handle these items in their daily lives. So that is the essence, to give some form of hope that we are messing it up and we deserve to make it better for the next generations. This is the message we are sending over.
Waste prevention and recycling. It'll take both to tackle climate change, and not only in Ghana.
That's all from us at Global 3000 this week. Don't forget to write to us at global3000@dw.com. Until next time, take care. Welcome to Global 3000. Wind and sunshine in abundance. How the Dominican Republic is turning its back on fossil fuels. We find out how a Malaysian celebrity chef is raising awareness about an unseen but ever-increasing threat. But first, dancehall music is on the rise in Jamaica. So is the murder rate. What's the link between music and violence? Laid-back reggae beats, stunning beaches, and a relaxed Caribbean vibe. That's Jamaica. But the island also has a darker side. In 2019, more than 1,300 people were murdered there. There were a similar number of shootings and just under 500 cases of rape. Barely a day goes by without bloodshed. Much of the perpetrators are young people who are taking cues from the music scene.
We have pan clip, pan chapstick. Our style me kidnap me no sound like nothing but in
Skilly Bang, a star of the Jamaican dancehall scene, has just released a new album. The toy rifles in the recording studio are props used in his videos, which are saturated with imagery of gangster culture, guns and drugs, and lyrics with distinctly violent overtones.
top ranking, bad man thing, yeah. Dancehall is the cool kids and the tough ones. That's how we live, that's how we survive. What is life without death? What is life without negative? Life is all about negative and positive.
Dancehall is the most popular music genre in Jamaica, and the biggest hits tend to revolve around violence. As far as Skillibeng is concerned, he's keeping his fans satisfied and can't understand the criticism he comes in for from some quarters.
And drive by and shoot 10 person, it can be a lie. It can be a lie. And it can be just a way of art to express how skilled you are with lyrics.
Kingston's ghettos have been plagued by violence for decades. Jamaica has long had one of the highest murder rates in the world. Dancehall's fast rhythms and raw lyrics have seen it take the island by storm, where it's heard on every street corner. Children grow up with it. And that's fueled a huge debate about where the boundaries of art should be drawn. Does dancehall reflect reality, or does the music promote criminal behavior? Does it glorify violence, homophobia and misogyny? Some of the artists are even convicted criminals themselves. Jamaica's Prime Minister wants dancehall to be aware of its responsibilities.
And though you have the protection of the Constitution to sing about it, you also have a duty to the children who are listening to you to say, man, that is not right.
Andrew Geohagan works for a violence prevention organisation. He takes us through the slums of Kingston, increasingly dominated by gang warfare. He explains the roots of the violence that he's experienced firsthand himself.
When you're born in a section of the community, you learn to hate another section of the community because maybe a person might have killed your father, might have killed your sister, your brother, your uncle. So persons are living with those kinds of anger.
It's hard to find someone here who has not lost a loved one to gun violence. Carlin's son was killed recently by a bullet in the back. Just one of the countless murders that never see anyone prosecuted. It's a similar case with Carlin's neighbour, whose son was executed with a shot to the head. The violence is driven by a desperate lack of opportunities for the poor here, neglected and ignored by politicians. Poor schools and poor prospects, accompanied by a hunger for recognition.
When you can't feed your children well, you can't talk to them much because they won't listen to you because sometimes they have to be out in the street hustling for themselves. What can you say?
It's a fight for survival that breeds further violence, revenge, turf wars, and a demand for respect combine to form a vicious circle, as gang member Garfield confirms.
We don't have no time to pep up. The system creates animals. You understand what I say? We turn animals. Everybody is like a lion and look out for a prey every day for every Jamaican.
Dancehall has a dark side, but for other artists, it's a force for good. Among the best-known artists outside Kingston is 21-year-old Coffee. Her music features a reggae-infused mix of dancehall and pop.
You got to shine like doop doop da da. Love it!
Last year, Coffee won the Grammy for Best Reggae Album. Her message is a positive one.
I think I understand the power of music and how far it goes, like how deep it can, go into a person's life or in a person's life, how much music can mean to them. And I think it's my role to, sing positive lyrics and have positive vibes, and I think be a positive public figure.
Her big inspiration is her mother, who gave her a happy childhood despite the lack of money available. Coffee was able to finish school and got her musical training in church. She wants to be a role model in Jamaica, and not only for women.
We have to teach our children more love and appreciate them from home so that when they grow older, they already have a foundation, they already confident, so they don't feel like they have to expose